Hello, and welcome to another vlog with your host Eamon Standing. Same background, it's a Pugley vlog. So, today we're going to be discussing the start of a second trilogy with Jefferson Pugley Takes to the Skies. So I've got the sketchbook right here, but I don't think I'll look at it that much for this one because it's more about the concept. Although, having said that, Take to the Skies, we're not introducing any new characters, so to speak, but compared to the other Pugleys, there's so much conversation, so many background characters with all the hot air balloon stuff. It's a different game, and you can tell that this took a lot longer than the other ones, especially with the sharpness of the images in the digital versions. And this was so fun to do. And the difference with this trilogy, and I'll explain it a bit more in another video, is that so the first trilogy, they were quite basic story events that didn't really take much research. It's just kind of you tell a story. But the next three books, each of them, there is a central theme. Obviously, in this one, Takes to the Skies, it's hot air balloons, where I actually had to do a lot of research to make sure that I'd get things at least close to right in terms of the plot, because the actual mechanics of how things work was determines how the plot goes. So that was very interesting. And another interesting fact is, this book was written in, when did I start it? I must have started it before that, but so this was 2014, so it's 2 years after the last Pugley, and in the middle of it, I actually I did this full colour thing for this Testicular Cancer Charity campaign, Check 1 2, Feeling Nuts, which is I think is the only colour work I've really done for comics, but it's pretty fun. And a good message. Just check your balls, so to speak, and you might be able to prevent testicular cancer, or at least figure out if something's wrong before it's too late. And that is a serious message, despite this being a comic channel. So yeah, the actual duration of doing Take to the Skies was a lot longer, and probably about 2/3 into the remastering process, I got a tablet screen, so it really sharpened everything up. So in the time it took to write this one book, there's a similar amount of time to the whole of the first trilogy, and I think it shows in the artwork. I think the artwork is way more challenging in the later three books. Maybe not so much Jefferson Pugley v Bad Medicine, but certainly Takes to the Skies, and absolutely, unquestionably, with the Trial and Sentence. So this second trilogy was a lot less focused on characters like the first three. It was a lot more focused on situations and a feeling and something a bit more existential. And I think that wasn't necessarily intentional. It was just a reflection of how stuff was going for me. I was in the middle of the PhD, and I really wanted to just write the comics, but I was 2 years in by that point, so it seemed like a silly thing to stop. I still got a book done each year, so I'm not too fast, and I am a doctor now. I still haven't done a video on what I actually did the doctorate in. I might do it at some point, but it's not really a passion of mine, so I might not. Also, it's I can't even remember the title of my thesis. It's so long. The title itself not the amount of time I've got quite good memory, but the title is ridiculously long because it has to be so specific. So yes, we've got a much darker trilogy. In fact, I kind of call it the near fatal errors of Jefferson Pugley, and it's quite a different change of mood. I think if you haven't already gone and read the rest of Jefferson Pugley Takes to the Skies, probably notice that it's got a lot more of a feeling of dread throughout the whole book, and the same thing happens in the other two in this trilogy. And it's really it still follows the kind of setup, problem, twist aspect, but the twist is a lot more subtle in this trilogy, and there's a lot more at stake. It's maybe not obvious in number 5 if you haven't read the other books, but if you acknowledge that what Pugley has done in previous books, then there should be some genuine worry going through the reader's mind. I remember my brother reading it for the first time and being quite like, "Oh my God, what happened?" But I mean, I really enjoy this trilogy. It's very therapeutic, so to speak. And if anything, I'll do another video that actually describes kind of what each book kind of represents from that point of view. But it's a lot more of a serious book somehow. It's not as... I'd say these are the actual dark Pugleys, other than maybe the end of the first one. It's not particularly funny, but there's something there that's relatable, and I'd say they're more gripping, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily as fun. And even when Take to the Skies came out, which is a partial reference to the Enter Shikari album, but only in name, because I like it. In fact, Takes to the Skies was meant to be the second book, but the mood just didn't suit, and I wasn't really ready to write it yet. I think it was a good choice to just go with Roller Coaster Extraordinaire. The concept of Jefferson Pugley on a hot air balloon had been floating around for a good long while. I won't explain what the original concept for Jefferson Pugley's Pyroclastic Hoover Tube is, but it's a lot closer to the original concept for Jefferson Pugley's Pyroclastic Hoover Tube. And you can see that in the art style, as I said before, that they get a bit more cartoony in this trilogy, and I almost think it's required because of the seriousness. But yes, in short, that is the second Jefferson Pugley trilogy and the shift in mood that happened. And I'll do another video that really explains why, but it's kind of an introduction to what's kind of going on, and why. Well, the main reason I want to change is I wanted a different mood, but I think the reason for there being a different mood is much deeper than that. But that's for another time. Enjoy and keep on reading at puglycomics.com.